Well, honestly, Mike, it's business as usual, but partly because Cole has been pushed back to tomorrow. So he will make his start tomorrow. It'll be Jerome Williams tonight, or this afternoon, I should say, out here in Chicago. So, but your point is a good one. It could very well be his final start in a Phillies uniform come tomorrow. Yeah. But you know what? It may not be. It really remains to be seen. And I think this thing's going to go right down to the wire here at the trade deadline.
Yeah, they did flip the guys, and Cole will pitch tomorrow, and then obviously we'll see what happens next Friday for him. But there's been, even Pete Mackinnon said maybe it's on his mind. Maybe this is something that he's thinking about. There's some people who have kind of indicated maybe he's been injured. What do you think has gone into Cole's last couple of starts?
Well, I don't know anything about an injury. I haven't heard that. It certainly doesn't appear he doesn't appear to be injured. Just watching him in his day-to-day routine and everything. So is the idea of perhaps being moved at the trade deadline, something that's creeping into his thoughts? I'm sure it is. I mean, these guys they're just human like the rest of us. And, as you just laid out, Cole's been a part of the Phillies organization for a long time. It's what he knows. It's what he understands. And, so anytime any of us, there's change staring us in the face, there's a possibility for, some questions, the fear of the unknown. I'm sure if Cole is moved, wherever he lands, he's going to, fit in very well into any starting rotation in baseball, and he'll feel pretty comfortable, soon thereafter. But, is he thinking about it? I'm sure that's creeping into his mind. I think it would be almost impossible for it not to be.
Greg Murphy's with us, Phillies and Cubs at the 4 o'clock hour on Comcast Sportsnet Philadelphia. Chase Utley looks like he out at least hitting some balls, taking some grounders. There have been some reports that teams are at least looking at Chase. I guess, Murph, my question for you is, it seems that Chase didn't want to be traded, liked being here. Has 60-plus losses changed his mind, do you think? Would he be more open to it after seeing – somebody had said at the beginning of the year, well, he hasn't seen what it's going to look like in August yet. Well, August is right around the corner. It's not very pretty. Do you think Chase would at least change his opinion or change his mind, or is he the kind of guy that wants to be a lifelong Philly?
Well, that's really only a question that Chase Utley can answer. I'm sitting here watching him take some ground balls in the infield right now, which is a good sign because he's still coming back from that injury. But, I can speculate with the best of them. And I think, before this season when approached with just the idea maybe of being moved, he was pretty clear that he wanted to stay in Philadelphia. He wanted to be a part of the changes that were happening and the rebuild. But as time goes on and the losses pile up and I think it's been a difficult year for everybody that's part of the organization, from top to bottom. And would he think about it? Again, I'll go back to the idea that these guys are human, and I gotta believe that he's going to think about it, whether or not he actually would decide to waive any kind of no trade clause that he would have in a particular instance. That remains to be seen. But, I don't think Chase is so close-minded that he wouldn't certainly listen to the organization and hear what they were proposing and take the other team into consideration and where he would fit in that mix and how close they would be in terms of winning another championship. I think he would certainly listen. I don't think he's stubborn to a fault in that he would just say no to anything. But if you ask me, do I think Chase Utley is going to be traded? My best guess is no. I think he's going to be a Philly and probably finish his career in Philadelphia. But certainly that could change, and a lot of that will depend on Chase himself.
You see him fielding ground balls, Murph, there in front of you. Does he appear to be healthy? I mean, is he slow? Is he moving a little hobbly there? Does he seem like everything's back to normal for him?
Well, we were watching him in Philadelphia the last 2 days before the off day yesterday, running the bases and taking ground balls at second base. And he looked to me, just from my untrained eye, I would say he looked to be 100%. He was running the bases hard, and he was running them very fast, and didn't seem to be having any problems on that ankle whatsoever. Right now, he's actually just standing behind a screen, and he's taking some throws over at first base, just kind of helping out as Miguel Franco takes some ground balls at third. So he's not really testing the ankle at this point, but what we've seen over the last couple of days, it doesn't appear that he has a whole lot of restrictions left. He's been swinging the bat. He's been taking some ground balls in the field. He's been running the bases. So I think he's pretty close to being ready to go, and then it's a matter of a rehab stint perhaps to get his timing back at the plate. And then back in the big leagues, I would think, soon after that. Or maybe not even a rehab stint. I think that'll be up to Chase and Ruben and his staff to decide what's best for the team.
Greg Murphy's with the Phillies. Franco back in the lineup today. He just had a little bit of an elbow issue. I guess it was pretty minimal then if he's back in the lineup today. It's just a sore right elbow?
Yeah, he's fine. You know, right after it happened, he was a little sore, but by the next day, he had even said at that point he felt pretty good and thought he could play. But Pete Mackanin said, you know what, why not? Give him a day off. He hadn't had a day off since he had been called up. So they gave him the day off, and they did it back-to-back, which gave him the off day as well. So 3 straight days for Maikel Franco, not only to rest the elbow, but just to rest, and then, you know, maybe even get a mental break from baseball, which is imperative when you're playing every day. It can be quite a grind for these guys. So I would imagine that he feels like he had a month off after having 3 days off and is raring to go and ready to go here at Wrigley Field.
Murph, you were there, front row seat for Aaron Nola the other night, and everybody was excited. I think your network had the highest rated program for the night. Obviously, it showed that people were excited to see this guy. What did you see from him? And obviously, what stood out to you when you got a chance to see him up close and personal?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. You bring up the ratings, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the highest rated Phillies broadcast we've had in about a year and a half, which just shows you what kind of excitement is surrounding Aaron Nola. And boy, I'll tell you, Mike, he did not disappoint. He was exactly as advertised. You know, here's a guy that you know is not going to overpower you with his stuff, but the stuff that he has, he certainly knows how to use, and he had pinpoint control. He had strikeout stuff, not because he can throw it right past you, but because he can fool you, and he consistently did that with his curveball. He did it with his changeup, and he did it with his fastball, finding his spots, mixing it up, adding and subtracting speed. He was everything that we had read about in terms of a guy that was just a flat out pitcher, a guy that knows how to pitch, and I think we saw that. I think he had a few butterflies just as the game got started. He allowed that leadoff double to start the game, and then boom, struck out the next two guys, and then got a weak ground ball to second to get out of that inning. And you know, if the Phils had scored any runs for him, he'd have a win already at this point in his career. But certainly, I think it was exciting to watch, and you know, he's going to have his games where he gets hit around. But in his major league debut, he was pretty special.
Day baseball at Wrigley, and obviously great place to go, great atmosphere there. Here's a team, the Cubs, that have turned it around and are in the playoff chase. The Phillies for 3. They'll have Jerome Williams today. Cole Hamels goes tomorrow for the Phils. Greg Murphy and the guys out there. Murph, I wanted to ask you how the Tour de Shore event went, and some people have been asking to ask what your time was.
Well, they timed it with a sundial, so you can. Well, first of all, thank you for asking. It was a fantastic day. We have reached the $850,000 mark raised for the one-day event, which is just remarkable. We're up over $5 million raised over the course of the Tour de Shore. So it was great. It was a terrific event. 2,400 riders. You know, very few incidents in terms of injuries and stuff, which is always a good thing. And I got down there. We started a little bit after 7 in the morning, and I got down there a little bit after 12 in the afternoon. So about 5 hours for me, which is not my fastest time ever, but with the heat index pushing 100, I was pretty happy with with my performance. So I got down there, I stayed hydrated, and I didn't have any problems. So it was a win-win for me. Great
stuff. Great event and great turnout. $850,000 for the one-day event, the Tour de Shore. This year's edition was last weekend. Greg Murphy and Team Murphy were a part of that, and now Greg Murphy will be a part of the Phillies broadcast team tonight as they take on the Cubs at Wrigley Field. What is your favorite Wrigley Field stomping ground? You got a place out there you like to hit up? You
know what? This city, Mike, I'm sure you know, is just It really is one of the great American cities to visit. Right around Wrigleyville, well, there's a little place on the corner, and it's called Murphy's.
There we go.
So I'm a little partial to that one. So when and if I get a chance to visit a couple of the bars at Wrigleyville, it'll be Murphy's for sure to start.
Murphy's Bleachers right out there on Addison Avenue.
That's right.
And you got the Cubby Bear across the street for the pregame for everybody who might be heading out there this weekend. Greg Murphy, everybody, and the broadcast team at Comcast Sportsnet, 4:05 for the Phils and the Cubs today. All right, Murph, enjoy Chicago.
Thanks, Mike.